Just a brief introduction as people are making their way in. I'll introduce myself first, and then I'll hand it over to my counterpartner, Erin. My name is Stephanie. I'm a trainer here at Ylopo, and I've been here for a little over 2 years, and I've worked in real estate for about 5. So pretty well versed. Never an agent. I like my weekends. So always support, always an admin, always happy, always a trainer, happy to help you guys. But for me to be an agent, not so much. But I'm really excited that you guys are here, really excited to show you all the tools and platforms. And for some of you, it might be a familiar face because I do host a lot of webinars and group trainings that we have here at Ylopo. So excited to have you guys.
And then I'm Aaron.
Aaron.
I'm Aaron. I'm a CSM here. I've been here now for a little over a year, and I do see a couple of my clients in there. So if you are one of my clients, hello. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to talk about a lot of these tools today. Some of the things we're going to look at, I've noticed that a lot of people I've worked with in the past, they don't necessarily know about some of these tools, and even when they do know about them, they use them separately, but not always together. So I'm really excited to kind of go over how to utilize some of these tools and how to actually use them in combination with one another to get the most out of everything. So definitely excited about this today.
Awesome.
Sounds good. You want to go ahead and get started, Steph?
Yeah, I think we're at a good amount of people right now. And if anybody late comes in, we'll get them the recording and then they can hear our banter in the beginning.
Sounds good. All right, I'll go ahead and share my screen and we will get started. All right. Are you able to see the screen?
We are.
Awesome. So today we're going to be looking at 4 separate tools. 3 of these tools work really well together. And then the other tool, we really just want to make sure that you utilize and that you know about because it is part of the branded sites tools, which 2 of these other ones are. So today we're going to be looking at reverse lookup by property. We're going to be looking at the heat map tool, the single listing flyer tool, and then the open house tool. So these are going to be our 4 main items that we're going to walk through today. And not only are we going to kind of describe what they are, but we're going to also kind of show you how to use these together to get the most out of everything. Now, first, we're going to take a look at the open house tools because it is going to be the one that is separate. So in order to get there, you're going to want to go to your branded site URL /tools. So if your branded site URL is Joe Schmo Real Estate, then you want to go to joeschmorealestate.com /tools. When you go to that, it's going to pull up these several options for you. The help tool, that's going to basically take you to where you can get some questions answered over on the Ylopo Success Community or Success Center. So we are going to be looking at these other tools. So first, we're going to look at open house. So what is the open house tool? The open house tool is going to be a registration made easy for any open house that you host. So it's not going to necessarily be a tool that's going to help you close any sales, but it's going to be a tool that's just going to make your life easier. So once you click on the open house tool, it's going to basically just have you input an MLS number for the open house home. It's going to have you put in the agent who's hosting that open house and then create open house link. When you do that, it's going to give you this. What's awesome about this is when you're out at the open house, you just have like a tablet, your phone, whatever it is with you. You have it open and you've got the QR code there. You can even print this and just have the printout on a countertop. So when people come in, they scan that QR code. What's nice is when they scan that QR code, instead of them having to fill out a piece of paper that you then have to go to your CRM later and manually input it, when they scan that QR code, they automatically get this form pulled up on their phone. When they put in this information and they click submit, it goes directly to your CRM. It has all of their information in there. It is assigned to the agent that's hosting this open house, and everything gets integrated. So if you have a default listing alert already set up, they're going to be set up with that. If you've got Raya set up, she's going to be able to engage with these leads. They will automatically get a stars link, so they're also going to fall into your remarketing. It takes so many steps out of your hands, and it just automates everything for you, and it makes things so much easier. And what's nice is that once they fill out this particular form, they're then going to be able to get the information of what that home is. So then they're going to have the basically that listing information. So how many beds, how many baths, what's the square footage, what are the amenities, what's the price, all of that stuff they are then going to also have. So it's not going to necessarily be a tool that, again, it's going to help you necessarily close any sales, but it's really going to make your life a lot easier. You don't have to worry about typos. You don't have to spend those 2 hours afterwards. You don't have to make sure they're imported into stars. You don't have to make sure they've got their listing alert set up. It's all done for you. So if you're hosting an open house, this is a really, really great way to make sure that you are optimizing your time during that open house.
And
So
if
I highly, highly recommend using this.
Erin, can you go back to the open house flyer, that original one that you showed? Okay, yeah. And what's cool about this, guys, is I think open houses are definitely becoming more common, especially right now as we're kind of in the slower season. So it's definitely something. And like what Erin said, I think what's really cool about this is there's a few ways that you can leverage this flyer. You could have it on your tablet, you could have it open. COVID taught us all how to use QR codes. So most people know how to use QR codes now. But another pro tip that I've seen a couple of clients do is because sometimes if your hotspot isn't working or your Wi-Fi is a little like iffy in that house, maybe the clients have already left, you can print these out and have them throughout the property. So if it's a very like busy open house and you're just trying to get people in the door, print this flyer out and put it throughout the property and just have them say, hey, I'll talk to you before you head out, just to make sure that, we captured your information. But as you walk through the property, you're going to see some flyers with some details on the home. If you just scan that and let us know, then we are able to go ahead and get you into our system. So a couple of different uses for it. Yeah, so I always say to have it, if you can't bring it up on on your main computer or on your tablet or your phone, like what James is saying, I always recommend to have at least the flyer printed too, just for any like issues with like technology, or some people don't have smartphones. So have it printed out just as a quick pro tip. And worst case scenario for those people that may not have a smartphone that can't scan a QR code, you'll probably have to capture their information, but it is 2023. Most of the time they're going to be able to scan it and get it right into your system.
Absolutely. And one off the wall way that I've actually seen a few clients use this as well, if they're just out and about and they meet a random person and they start kind of talking about real estate and they find out a little more information about the person and they know I've got a home that actually matches with this person. I've had a couple of clients actually create the open house tool there and have them scan the QR code while they're
Oh,
just like out and about. So you can use it in other instances like that. It doesn't always have to be just at an open house. So really interesting way to use it, but that is actually something that you can use the open house tool. So
I
um,
just learned I just learned that. That's a really good pro tip.
yeah, it's a really intriguing way to use it. Now, I probably wouldn't necessarily say it's the best way to go, but I mean, if you're out somewhere, just out and about, enjoying like a night out market or something like that, it's a quick and easy way to get somebody into your system with just like knowing then that they're in your CRM and you don't have to do anything else for them. Like it does make it a lot easier. So there are other ways to use it. So think out of the box with it. Try and create some new ways to use it, but it's a really good one to use. Um, Now, the next tool though that I want to take a look at is going to be this heat map tool. Now, this is going to be the first one that we are going to connect together with the other tools. But what is the heat map tool? So basically, it is a tool primarily designed to show sellers in your data, like how many people in your database are looking for their home. Now, what's nice though is it can be used for buyers also as kind of a FOMO, a fear of missing out. And so basically, and I'll go over that a little bit more, but it's primarily for sellers to show them, hey, I've got this many people looking for your home. List it with me because if you list with me, I've got 20 people I can send your home to right now and sell your home quicker than Joe Schmo down the street. So list with me and I will sell your home faster. That's the primary reason for it. The thing to keep in mind with it though is that it's only going to pull leads that are in the Ylopo infrastructure. So if you've got a sizable database that isn't fully imported with Ylopo, make sure that you do have everybody imported with us because it does make tools like the heat map tool a lot more effective. Uh, but it's a really great tool for buyers and sellers. And we'll go ahead and go through kind of what to do with it and how you can use it for both of those. So when you click on it, you're going to put in the team member name, and then you'll start putting in the address property. Once you start putting it in, it's going to have a drop down so you can select it. Down here, though, you've got a number of items that you can put in there. You've got beds and bathrooms. Sometimes you can put in a lower bed and bath. So if it's a 5-bedroom, 5-bath, chances are if you put 5-bedroom, 5 baths, there's going to be fewer people looking for it. You can put in a lower number because people are generally going to be willing to get a bigger home as long as it's in their price range. Try to keep it as accurate as you can, but if you know that the home is probably a little more unique, you can go to the lower end of the bedroom and bathrooms, um, but you do want to keep it fairly close. For the price minimum and maximum, you want to give a range here. And so what I like to do with this is say a home is 500,000. I like to put that home price right in the middle of the price minimum and the price maximum. So if the home cost is 500, I typically put in a 400,000 minimum and a 600,000 maximum. That allows for people who maybe are able to negotiate up a little bit and people who the home matches and it's cheaper than what they can spend. So it's like, okay, why not show it to them? Uh, for square feet and minimum and maximum, it's going to be somewhat similar to the price, but you don't necessarily need a maximum for the same kind of reason, same kind of thought process. People are generally going to be willing to get a bigger home if it's in their price range. They're generally not going to be willing to get a smaller home. So say the home is 1,200 square feet, I would typically do a square footage minimum of 1,000 square feet. So a little bit lower, and then maximum I tend to leave open. When you put all of that information in, it is going to give you an estimate of what you're going to see. And those buyers looking for similar property, those are going to be those leads that are integrated with Ylopo that are in your database. So they have the stars link, they are part of Ylopo and your database. Now, once you've put in all of that information, you can put in a custom image. So if you've got an image of the home that you want to make sure we're using, you can put that URL in there and it uses that image. The optional body text, to be honest, most of my clients don't tend to update that. You can absolutely update it if you want to really highlight something specific, but a lot of clients do tend to just kind of leave that the same. Once you've created that, you can then create the buyer heat map tool. And this is what it's going to look. It'll have the home image at the top. It'll give the address, the beds and the baths, and it'll have the agent's name and contact information in the top right. Below that is going to be this image here. What this image is going to show is this is going to be a great visual representation of those 114 leads and where their general searches are. So that home, that 158 Southport, that's going to be right there. That's that little home icon. And Barry has several hotspots right around this home, all within, I believe it's a 10-mile radius. So if that person in the 158 Southport is looking to sell their home, this is a really important item because Barry can take this to them and be like, look, I have upwards of 35 people right within about a 10-mile radius of your home that are looking for your home. If you list with me, I can show your home to them today and have people looking at your home by the weekend. It is incredibly powerful to convince somebody on the fence about listing a home. It's incredibly useful and powerful tool to show them that you are the right agent to list with. Now, I did mention you can use this with buyers. Like I said, this is mostly for sellers, but say you have a buyer that's on the fence. They're looking for a home that matches this home's criteria. You can show them this and be like, look, I have 114 people that are looking for this home in this area as well. Last month I had 102. This month is 114. If you're really looking to buy, you need to buy now because I've got more and more people coming into the market and competition is just going to continue to increase. Come and work with me. I'll find you the right home and I will get you that right home in a timely manner. This is a really good way to make sure that they know, hey, the market's changing and look at this visual and I can help with this, but you need to make a move now. So that's how you can use this for buyers as well as sellers.
And one quick call out, guys, is that this is meant to set you apart from Joe Schmo, right? Joe Schmo and I are both going to that listing appointment where it's 2023. We're all going to say, I'm going to put your listing online. it's 2023. We're all going to say, I have a big database that I can put this in front of. But the point is not to go into that appointment and say, oh, I have a buyer, right? Like, because the question was asked, like, well, what if they say, bring me a buyer, things like that. It's not meant to say that you have one. It's meant to say, not only in addition to the advertisement I'm going to be doing for your listing, if you decide to list with me, I'm going to market this to 114 people that I already have in my database. This doesn't even include the extra marketing I'm going to do for you. This doesn't include me putting on the MLS. But I've got 114 people that are active on my site that are looking for a similar home that I can put this property in front of. Am I going to guarantee that one of those people is going to buy? No, because we can't make that guarantee. But what I can guarantee is that in leverage of all the other advertising I'm going to do, I've got 114 people already in my database. And that is why, and I'm harping on this because it's the biggest thing I think that is important about this tool, you need to keep people on your search site. If you do this tool, if you leave this training and you're like, okay, I got a listing coming up this Friday, let me try it. And we can only, it doesn't matter how big or small that number is. That's still a number in there. Whether we're generating 3 buyers looking for a property, or you've got a database like Barry, it's 114. But if you want to see that number grow, drive people to the site, because that's where we're pulling this data. We're pulling this data from them being on your search site, looking at a $400,000 home to a $600,000 home, 3 beds, 2 baths. That's how we're finding it. So if you want that to go up, then you're going to need to make sure that you're saying that, exactly like what Kurt's saying. It's important to have that conversation where you're saying, I have active buyers in here, not that you already have a buyer. Again, never going to make that. I always say that we're never saying that you have it already, but when you're thinking about me and Joe Schmo, we're both going to say, I have people I can advertise it to, but Joe's not going to have a number that he can advertise it to. He's just going to say, oh, I don't know, my database. You've got data to show I've got 114 people looking at a very similar home.
Yeah. And not just looking at a similar home, but a similar home in your area. So right around where you're at as well.
And
100%.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, 100%. I do personally tend to speak in I can't think of the word, but I am very much language wise where I will be like, oh no, I have this. But yes, when you're talking to a lead or a potential seller or buyer, yeah, you definitely don't want to speak like that. You want to kind of leave it open. You don't want to be like, oh no, there's a guarantee there. So yeah, definitely watch that language when you do present this for sure. But this isn't all the information that you're able to show them on the heat map. So on the heat map, you're also going to see these blacked out, blurred out people. And you can find these people in your database. The other items that it's going to show on the heat map, you're going to have these blacked out, blurred out people. Now, what's nice though is you can find these people in your database, and we'll show you here in just a few minutes how to actually find these people. But it's also going to show them a kind of an overview of like an example of what the ads are. It's going to show them what your reach is in terms of your advertising, in terms of your active buyers. So it's going to give them some more analytical information for them to look at outside of just this visual here. So there is more information that they're able to actually kind of look at, and you're able to sell them on to really kind of promote yourself. So going back to that, we have 1,300 active buyers that we are targeting with Facebook ads every single day. We're getting in front of these people every single day. I'm spending $1,000 at least on over 11 homes. So if you list with me, I will do everything I am able to in order to actually sell your home. It gives them that extra little bit of information to show or to see that you are doing everything you can. And like Stephanie was saying, Joe Schmo down the street, he may be like, oh yeah, no, I run Facebook ads. I'm spending $200 a month on them, and I get some pretty good results. But how in depth is that information that Joe Schmo is going to be able to provide? How in depth is it? Probably not as in depth as a lot of this. So once you get all of this information, say you've convinced the lead, all right, yeah, I want to list with you. I want you to sell my home. So what's the next step? What's the next tool to really try to promote this home to get the most out of it? From there.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Steph.
Just real quick before we move away from the heat map, because it was asked in the training. I'm going to share my screen really quick, if that's okay.
Yeah.
and then I'll give it back to you because you got the deck. But just real quick, guys, a lot of these tools we're showing you, you can do both online in a tablet form, or you can print it. So a question was asked about printing it. Once you've created it, you can create the buyer heat map. It pulls up the page. And then if you want to print it, you can print it straight from your browser, whatever browser you're using. And it does look like that. The map does get a little squished just because we're trying to print it all into one page for you. But it's still the good details that you have here. You can save it. You can print it from here. I saved it as a PDF just so it was easy, but you can see here, this is what it looks like. Oops, sorry, wrong page. This is what it looks like. And include this with your listing presentation. If you have a book, like, again, I told you guys, I was an assistant. So I used to have to prep the listing presentations. If you got a book, if you got your comps, your CMAs, throw that in there. Again, it could be something that you show visually, but it is also something that you can print. And all of these tools that Erin's talking about going forward, including, well, even the open house one, all of these tools are able to be printed. So we're showing you on the desktop, but you can print these as well if you would prefer to show it to them that way.
Yeah. And with the heat map as well, when you do print it out, personally, I actually like that the map is kind of squished together a little bit because it actually makes those heat spots look closer together. So it does create some kind of like a subconscious effect there to where it looks even more impressive than it does when it's spread out a little bit more. So when you do print it, for me, I actually do think that that is a benefit from printing it there. So, but yeah, all of these you do have the option to print for sure.
Awesome.
But once you've got the lead to agree to list with you, the next tool then that you want to turn to is the single listing flyer tool. And this is going to be very similar. You'll go in, you'll put in the home's information, and it's going to give you this right here. This is basically, oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, can you share your,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, my bad.
No, you're okay. It's because I took over. That's why.
All right, there we go. All right, so yeah, with the listing, single listing flyer, it's gonna, when you put in the home information, it's gonna give you this. So basically, it's a version of like the pamphlet that you find in front of a home for sale. It's the pamphlet that you find in an open house, things like that. So it's gonna create something like this for you. And what's nice is that with this one, you've got the link and you've got the printing version. With what we're going to look at today, we're going to look at the link version of it. But again, yeah, this is one that you can print. But it's going to have all of the information for this home that they're going to need. Every bit of information that they're going to be like, oh, well, that's enticing. I definitely want to know more about this. It's going to have all of the necessities, including some of the amenities. So like this one, you can see it's showing, it's got 2 spaces for parking. It's got a garage. It's got vinyl exterior. It's got a heat pump, a wood fireplace. So you get a lot of this really cool information. But in terms of what we're talking about today, how do you use this? Well, what you want to do is for that home that you just got as a new listing, you want to put that home's information in here. Create this single listing flyer. And then once you've created that, you'll take that link and save that link. Once you've got that link created, your next step in order to use this to its fullest is going to then be to go to your mission control dashboard. You want to go to your stars.ylopo.com/dashboard/market. And that pulls up your marketing dashboard. Now, what we're going to do in here is we are going to find those people that were pulled up on your heat map. So those blacked out, blurred out people, we are going to scan through your database and we're going to find them for you. And that's what this reverse lookup by property tool is going to do. It's going to be right under your marketing command center. So you should see it right at the very bottom of the marketing dashboard when it loads, but it's going to be right below that marketing command center. It's one of the 2 grayed out buttons. Once you click on reverse lookup by property, it's going to pull up a form for you. We'll take a look at that form, but this is what the reverse lookup by property is going to do. Like I said, it searches all of your leads in Ylopo. Once it pulls up or finds those leads that are looking for that home, it's going to then give you a spreadsheet with that lead's information. When were they created? What actual metrics are they looking for in a home? What's their email? What's their phone number? It's going to give you all of their leads information. So that way you can quickly find who is looking for that specific home and then make sure that you are getting that specific home in front of that lead that is actually looking for that home. And so the more leads that you got in with us, the more people that you have searching your website, the more data and responses that you're going to get back in this. But this is how you'll end up pulling it up. The form's going to look like this, and very similar to the other tools. You'll just start putting in the address, and then it's going to have a drop down you can select. Again, similar to the other ones, I do the range for the home we used in this one, Briarwood. I believe it was 480. So with this one, we did a range of 450 to 600. We kept the beds and baths pretty equal to what it actually is. And then we put in the minimum square footage of 2,000. The home, I believe, was 2,200 square feet for this one. Didn't worry about the max for pretty much the same reason. People are generally willing to get a bigger home. But in terms of this, once you've got those set, you can click that green generate report button. And it may take it a minute depending on how big your database is, how big your active users are, things like that. But once you click on that generate report, it's going to give you this. This is the CSV file, the spreadsheet with all of that information. And at first it's like, oh, that's a lot. There's a couple of columns in here that you can hone in on to kind of make sure that you are finding the people that are the most valuable for you at that given time. The first column you want to look at is going to be the created column, because with the leads we're showing here, these leads, they're old. They were created in 2017. So usually they're probably not going to be the leads you want to start with. So you want to look for leads that were created fairly recently. Usually within the last 3 to 6 months is your best bet. Once you find some leads that have been created recently, the next column you want to look at is going to be over here is the buyer time frame. And I believe that this is in the, I think it's column N, but the buyer time frame is the next one you want to look at. You'll have people at 12 plus months. You'll have unknowns, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12, and then within 90 days. Usually you're going to want to start with those people who are looking within 90 days. If there aren't a lot of those, then you want to move on to the next one. You want to do the 3 to 6 months. Once you have a couple of people that you are like, those are great leads. They're active, they're new, they're looking for a home now, they match all the criteria. Let's send this home to them. So you then take their email address. So like for this one, you would copy nikkid1@gmail.com. From there, you'll go to your CRM and you'll find her, just do a search for the email and it will pull up for you. Once that pulls up, send them a personalized text message, personalized email, something that is personalized to them that includes that single listing flyer link. Hey, I saw that you had been looking at a home around 500,000 or so that you were hoping to get something that had 5 bedrooms, 4 baths around this area. I wanted to send you over this home. It just came on the market. It matches everything that you've been looking for. Take a look at it and let me know what you think of it. Once you send that out to them, give them about 2 days. If you haven't heard from them in about 2 days, you now have a very specific reason and specific topic to talk about with them. So call them. After 2 days, you haven't heard from them, give them a call. Hey, I sent you over a listing a couple days back about this new home that just went on the market. I think it matches everything you're looking for. Have you had a chance to take a look at it? You have. Awesome. Well, do you want to go take a look at it? I can get us set up some time and we can go take a look at it this weekend if you'd like to. Or if they haven't, oh no, no problem at all. I'll go ahead and resend it to you. Be on the lookout for that text message from me. And when you take a look at it, let me know what you think. I'd love to set up some time and go and show you this house. I really think it's going to be a good match for you. And then from there, just go down the line. Start with all of the leads on the spreadsheet within 90 days. Once you've gone through all of those, then move on to those that are in that 3 to 6 months time frame. And once you've gone through a number of those, you have now successfully gone through and sent this one specific home to a number of leads that have shown a history of wanting this specific home. It's a really useful way, and especially if it's a home you're listing, it's a really useful way to keep all commissions in your bucket. So if it's a shared commission, you don't have to share it anymore because now you've got a buyer in your own database that you're connecting with a seller in your own database. That's
And
going to be the best way to use these. So sorry, Steph, go ahead.
oh no, you're totally fine. And I wanna say on my end, that there was a question that was asked like about mission control and things like that sort. So I'm gonna share again if that's okay, Aaron.
Absolutely.
So reverse lookup by property, you can only access it if you're the license holder because it's where your marketing is and it's where your money is. So agents are not going to have access to that. Do not be giving your agents access because again, it's where your money is. However, agents can do this in their system. And I'm going to show you guys in Follow Up Boss. So let me share my screen. So the first thing is if you're the account owner, make sure that within Follow Up Boss that you have auto tagging turned on. So that's going to be in your admin section in Follow Up Boss. You're going to go to tags and you want to make sure this is turned on. What happens when you turn that on is that every time somebody looks at a property, they're going to add a zip code or they're going to add the city tag. You can pick which one you want. I say both, it doesn't matter. But the reason you want this on is so that you can, because Aaron's showing you, you're going to get that reverse lookup by property. But again, if you've got a big team, you're the team lead, you don't want to do this for everybody. Then if you have auto tagging turned on, what it's going to do is it's going to apply a tag of a city or a zip code every time they look there. So let's say I was going to do this for Los Angeles. I can do Los Angeles. And then price range, I can do price. Average price point is between, let's say 500,000 to 600,000 people. And now we've got about 13 people. I've got 13 people that I can advertise it with. Now, obviously, Los Angeles is huge. That is a big area. But this is where the zip codes can come into play. So I don't actually know any Los Angeles ones, so I'm going to do my area. But if I had somebody in Colorado Springs that I knew wanted to be in downtown Colorado Springs, I can search their zip code. And I didn't think there'd be too many. But you can get really granular with the data. And when your agents are doing this on their profile, they're only going to see the people in theirs that are assigned to them. So it's going to allow them to uncover these people in their database. And while you're here, you might as well go ahead and send that email. You can send the email straight from here. So I like it. I also have seen some of our realtors and residents, they'll have like a form that their agents will fill out if they want us to do a reverse lookup. You could do that route, or you can teach your agents, make sure you have auto tagging turned on. That's huge. You have to have the tagging turned on to be able to search those people. And it's important for you to know it doesn't go back. So it's like if we turned it on today, it's going to add all those tags from everybody new coming in going forward, but it's not going to add it to anybody that was there before. That's okay. Turn it on. And then again, Bub makes it really easy for you guys to search. So you can search for I do average price point just so that I can kind of get like their average. Sometimes they look at $1 million home, sometimes they look at 500. And then you just throw in the tag for wherever you're searching, and then you can mass email it from here. So yes, reverse lookup by property is a tool only available in Mission Control. It's a great tool. It's a great CSV file. But if you got a lot of agents and you don't want to do this every time for them, teach them this or show them this part of the recording. And then this is going to allow them to just search within their database. Perfect. Cool. Back to you. And I'm not sharing anymore.
No worries. Yeah, that was pretty much how what I wanted to talk about with those. They all work really, really well separately, but they work even better when they're combined. So when you're using these tools, definitely, and not just these tools, but any of the Ylopo tools, try to find ways to really combine them with the other items that you have. Whether it be items that we provide for you, like listing alerts, but also things like maybe an action plan that you may have set up in Follow Up Boss. Things like that. So utilizing all of these tools together makes them so much more effective than when they're just by themselves.
Yeah, and I threw it in the chat, but just wanted to call it out. Like everything he taught you guys today, like even the single listing flyer, you can take that to the listing presentation. Like even if it's not, because the thing is that all of these tools, literally the tool that took the most work that he taught you today is the heat map and the reverse lookup, because there's some steps involved. Like the open house tool, the single listing flyer tool, you literally just need the MLS number and pick your name. That's it. And if you're the only agent, it's only going to be your name available. But like, I like including, like when we were talking about like printing it and stuff like that, like take a single listing flyer for another listing you did as part of that listing presentation, because now you've got the heat map to show people that, you have potential buyers in your database. You have an example of the listing presentation or of the listing flyers you're going to be able to create for them. And it's just a really quick way to make you stand out compared to somebody who's going to walk in with just a comp, with just the comps and just the CMA. Like there's going to be a difference between Joe Schmo who's bringing that in and the material that you guys are going to be able to bring in. And my favorite thing about the single listing flyer is even if they decided not to go with you, well, granted, your name's probably on everything in your listing presentation, but your single listing flyer does have your contact information. And you even have the ability, if you have a lender, to add your, like if you have a lender partner with Ylopo, there's a section for you to add your lender's information on the flyer as well. So it's just a really great way to keep your branding, your name in front of them. And like we said before, all of these tools are powerful if you keep them on your search site. They're going to be powerful no matter what, but they have a lot more bang, a lot more, you're able to find more people in your database. You're able to advertise these listings in front of more people if you keep them on the search site that's branded to you, the search site that is going to keep your branding in front of them. And then we have all this data you guys can leverage.
Yeah. And for Austin, the way that it'll work with something like that is you won't bring it for that specific home that you're trying to get. You'll say you've got a home that's on the market that's right around the corner. You'll want to bring that one, especially if it's a home that is very similar to the one that you're trying to get. Then at that point, that's going to be how you want to use it. So find a home that's right around the home you're going for the listing appointment for, and take a single listing flyer for that one. And then you can even use like some of our other tools. I'm trying to think. There was another one that you can use for something like that. Brain tooting again though.
The listing detail page.
That's it. Yes. The listing detail page is another one. So there are absolutely a couple of other tools that you can utilize by taking other homes or putting other homes through. So that's how you would want to use it.
And James, I see your concern about the open house tool. We'll put in a ticket for you, and we'll have your client success manager also CC'd on that. So support and your client success manager can be on the loop on that. I grabbed it on my end.
Yeah.
Cool. So this one was a little bit of a shorter one because we really wanted to focus on the tools. Before we wrap, please feel free to ask any more questions in the chat should you have any, or in the Q&A. But before we wrap, I do want to call out a couple more things. So real quick before we wrap, all of these tools again are going to be on your branded site. So go to your branded site /tools, and then you will find all of the tools that we reviewed today in there. So again, if you missed that chat earlier, if you do not have a branded site with Ylopo, you will not have access to these tools. So you have to have a branded site. If you don't have one and now you want one, reach out to us at support@ylopo.com or your client success manager. We can get you a page. Even if you have another branded site, you could at least just get this page with the tools. Second call out I'm going to have, and I'll throw this in the chat, but this is just one of the many trainings and webinars that Ylopo hosts. I'm going to call out office hours on Mondays with Matt. Tuesdays. I was literally hovering over Tuesdays. So Tuesdays is Tools Tuesday. So if we did this too fast, if you're like, this is great, but I need to hear it again, I'm one of those people. You can teach me all day long, but I need to touch the tools. Matt Croteau is a realtor in residence. He is a industry leader. He is a team lead and is generating the same leads you are. And he is more than happy to share the tips and tricks that he is having success with this. Aaron gave you a lot today. Really good information. I took away stuff that I didn't know, and I teach all day long. But if you want a refresher, if there's some teammates that didn't get to catch this live and you want them to go live to ask questions, strongly recommend that they check out this session. He covers these tools. He covers a couple more tools, but he does handle the, reverse lookup. We talk a lot more about some of the other branded site tools we didn't get to touch today. Seeing some in the chat. Yes, Matt is awesome. So this is going to be one I really recommend. And like every training we have at Ylopo, if you cannot catch us live, do not worry because we record all of these. So I'm going to throw in the chat I'll stop sharing because I need to log in, but I'll throw in the chat the recording for those. And so you can catch that at any time. Again, these are webinar series that we have, but there is additional training and opportunities if you guys have. And I'm on those Tuesdays with Matt, so you'll see a familiar face. And that's going to be definitely something that you guys can leverage if you need a little bit more than what we were able to give you today. And I just threw that in the chat. Austin, for the single listing flyer and the Ask Me mass email, you can just copy and paste it there. I would probably not use the flyer in that scenario for a mass email. I would probably use the listing detail page. The listing detail page is really like a property page just for that property. It gives them like, it shows them all the homes, it pulls the MLS stuff. That's where I would drive them. But again, that's something we cover a lot too on Tuesday sessions. And I think I've seen you on that one. So you're more than welcome to join that too. Cool.
Yeah,
Andy?
for the single listing flyer, Austin, I would recommend this more on like a personal basis. So when you've got not necessarily sending out a mass email to people, that's when I would really kind of lean more towards that single listing flyer. So that way it's a lot more personal for them. Rather than doing the single listing flyer as a big like a big mass email. Wouldn't really do it for that, but more for that personal outreach. So that way when you call them a couple of days later, there's not as much to go over. There's not as many random emails that you have to kind of go through and make sure you've got everybody that you sent that last.
Any other last minute questions or concerns, guys, before we wrap today? Good turnout. And I hope if any of you have a listing coming up, you're going to take everything Aaron said and you're going to apply it. Now, like if you didn't know you had those tools and you're like, man, I just had a listing last week, that's okay. You could still use it. You could still create a flyer. You can still use the open house tool. So definitely take advantage of those. I know a lot of people are wanting sellers in this market, but I know it's also challenging because there's not a lot. So use these tools to stand up, especially again, next to Joe Schmo. You guys have all these tools and all of this technology behind you. Awesome. I think that's all she wrote. Cool. Well, perfect. I'll go ahead, James. Like I said, I think he was wrapping up, but I'll put in that support ticket for him. But otherwise, thank you, Aaron. That was super informative.
Thank you, Stephanie.
And thank you guys for joining us. We have a couple more of these webinar sessions, our webinar series still. So stay tuned for the next one and we'll see you guys at the next one.
Have a good one, everybody.
Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.